Hello, and welcome everyone. Welcome to the human take on cultural transformation. We will share how to move organizations from quietly listening to actively living their values. We will keep it interactive, so please feel free to add any of your questions or comments to the Q&A section and to the chat. We will address the Q&A at the end. And we aim to leave you today inspired and to give you some pragmatic tools. I would love to hear from the audience. Please drop in the chat where in the world you are dialing in from. So let's see. I can start. So I'm Bart. I'm a business humanizer and cultural decoder at Innate Motion. I'll be guiding you through the session with my colleagues Moniek and Jasmine today. I'm dialing in from the Netherlands, and they have years of experience working together. So I'm going to pass it on to Jasmine first. How did you experience the cultural differences in this collaboration with Moniek?
Hi, thanks, Bart. I love this question. So, hi, everyone. I'm Jasmine from China, currently living in Singapore. So, the culture I grew up focused a lot on harmony, relationship, and also with a collective spirit when we work together. So, working with Monique, who is from Holland and Dutch, has brought a lot of refreshing contrast with my own culture. So, her directness, openness, and transparency have really encouraged me, almost pushed me to express a stronger point of views, which is great. So I have to break my own discomfort and speak up and also have my own point of views on every single topic. How about you, Monique? What's your experiences working with me from a very different culture?
That is, thank you for the kind words about me and working with me. I also enjoyed a lot working with you over the past 15 years. And there's something very special that you brought to my attention, and it's called quiet confidence. Being a Dutch, that is such a paradox. How do you do that? Quiet confidence. And thanks to you, you helped me a lot to adapt to that, to keep my curiosity, my directness, perhaps even, but in a less confrontational way. And you have put a lot of effort in then giving me that feedback, giving me tips in how to change that, to live the quiet confidence. Perhaps we can do another webinar about that, these tips, giving these tips to people. There's not only differences that we also have something in common, and that is pragmatism. We are very much focused on doing or on getting things done, and also in understanding what are we after, what's the frame here, what's the objective. So Bart, what is it for today?
Yes, thank you, Monique. So, as you can see on the screen today, we will discuss 3 blocks for cultural transformation that are designed to deal with the way us humans are wired around change. So, the first one we want to address is future visualization. Here, we use the power of we to build a shared identity and really look at where do we want to go and what do we want to achieve. The second part is integral change. Here we prep for the change that needs to happen so that we're ready to tackle it and give a role to everyone in the organization so that everybody is included and the whole system change as a collective. The third is relevance and resonance. Here we need to embed it into the systems and stage the progress that we make so that we can also be proud of the things that we achieve. Monique, Jasmine, anything to add before we continue on this?
Not on my end, unless there's something in the chat.
Oh, good.
Read that. If you have any questions to add that. I don't see anything yet. So this webinar is about cultural transformation. So the steps we just showed you are about the process of it. But let's dive first a bit more into what culture actually is. We'd like to ask you as an audience, how would a stranger perceive or recognize your company culture from the outside? And we have a couple of answer options for you. The poll should launch now. So the first one is in how we get things done. The second is in how we collaborate. The third in how we define success. 4 is in what we stand up for. And then we have, of course, the rituals. And the last one is in the vibe that you can feel when you walk in the room. So as the results roll in, while we wait, Monique, we have studied a similar track in university. Can you tell us a bit about the definition of culture?
Yeah, we both studied culture psychology. I actually did culture and religion psychology at the time. And I remember that it took us quite a while, quite a few books and like half a year of classes to come to a complex definition of culture. So for today, let's make it a bit more basic. To me, for culture, it's good to know that it is comprehensive and that it's dynamic. People should never forget that. The comprehensiveness means that it's not just one thing. It's all aspects that we put in the poll. I see some didn't get any didn't get any votes, but also the KPIs, the system can be part of a culture as well. And if you then want to change a culture, given the fact it's comprehensive, it's good to take multiple angles, multiple lenses to make that change happen. And you need to make sure that the people that you want be part of that change are also prepared for the change. Change can cause discomfort to people, so you need to find ways to make them comfortable with that change. Comprehensive is the one element I like about culture to keep in mind, and the other one is that culture is dynamic. Culture is, I have this favorite one-liner, as everyone that knows me knows as well. We shape our culture and our culture shapes us. Goes both ways. So it means that you can change culture and you can influence it yourself, but it will also influence you. We are not a victim of our culture. No, we can do something, and we're also not the one and only hero, the only one that has an impact. And that's good to realize for an organization that wants cultural transformation. It's possible to design for change with the help of people. In the poll, perhaps we should have a look at the results. What do you think, Bart?
Look at the results. So as we look at the results, the most answered option here is in how we get things done. So the unwritten rules that guide our behavior. But after that, we also see that the way we collaborate, what we stand up for, and the vibe that we can feel are important aspects that people think their culture is recognized by. But as you said, all of these are part of what culture is. So I want to move to Jasmine. Can you speak a little bit about the changes in the relationship between culture and the business world in today's societies?
Yeah, sure. Before I start to share, actually, one of the really interesting observation from the result of the poll, which is no one choose the KPIs, metric, and performance reviews. They are important, but it's actually, I think many of us and to value today, people are the force, are the most important force to drive the cultural transformation and the culture in the organization itself. So culture and cultural transformation are important topics today, as the result shows, and also it's really important. It's driven by people, not only by KPIs and metrics. So many organizations are seeking for support, as the current culture today and the future shift needs to be driven by the younger generation. But this challenge isn't new for any of the company or organization. So companies used to struggle with millennials, but now the struggle shift or the focus shift is to Gen Z, who see life and work differently. And it won't stop here. As generation change, society and mindsets evolve, this challenge will continue. And today I want to show you some of the 3 key shifts we have observed in this context. So I will start with the first one, which is a work-life balance, from work-life balance to a work-life integration. And I think many of us, those who are not Gen Z here, have made a lot of comments or even joked about how Gen Z is always chasing work-life balance. They often come across as a I don't care vibe. And society describes them as having a slate energy, chill, extremely pragmatic, and also very self-protective as well when it comes to work. but have we ever paused and to look deeper? What's really driving these surface behaviors and what really motivates them at the workplace? So the truth is, Gen Z, they do care, but they are not just seeking for work-life balance. They are actually looking for work-life integration. For them, work should serve as an overall purpose of the life they want. It should align with their lifestyle, not exist as a separate task or obligation, responsibility, or extra burden. If it doesn't fit, it just becomes something they really push away, or that's where they give you a I don't care vibes. So the second shift is also super interesting. We see the move from employee well-being but to employee relevance. So the other trend we are seeing is that, the terms like burnout, panic attack, emotional breakdown, depression, have become a common terms among the younger generation in the workplace. Sometimes the reaction is, oh, they are just too fragile. They are the strawberry generation. What they are just making excuses not to work tomorrow, or they are too self-focused. But we start to see actually deeper down, maybe well-being isn't exactly what they are looking for. In some Gen Z focus group we run in the past year, we learned that what actually drives them to work hard. So very carefully, they can work hard, but what's the driver is actually to help them build a resilience mentally and physically. So how do we do that is when their work connects to their personal purpose. And it makes sense because in today's world, everyone wants to be somebody and to contribute, to have autonomy in what they do and really make an impact in daily life as well. So the last shift is also connected with the first two shift movement as well. So move from hierarchical leadership to identical leadership. Any of you have a Gen Z kids or nephew or niece here, you can just raise your hand. I'm not sure you have experienced these classic reactions or expressions, like when you have a conversation with them, the reaction is like, huh? What do you mean? Sorry, I can't mimic so well. But that kind of facial expression can be so annoying sometimes. But let's also be honest. It also shows us something really important. So they are not convinced by traditional top-down leadership anymore or just conversation. So I tell you, you listen approach doesn't work. Deep down, they are asking, hey, why? Why does this person asking this question? What does this really mean to me? Does this align with my personal purpose? And that's why Gen Z looks for identity leadership. So a leadership style based on a shared sense of way, a shared sense of the purpose, a shared sense of the values we believe in together to grow, to thrive. Yeah, so that's something I want to share first about.
Yeah, it's really interesting. And we have seen in a LinkedIn poll shared with Monique about a week ago that people are experiencing issues across the board when it comes to cultural transformation. And Jasmine, as I understand, you have an example of how you made sort of this first step that we talked about, the first block, the visualization of the future. So please tell us about this case.
Yeah. Great. So Bart, yes, I want to share the example of how leading Asian retailer organization by taking a people-first approach and managed to all move into the same direction to visualize what's the future for us, what's the future of the culture we want to establish at the workplace. So let me tell you more about this company. They have more than 10,000 outlets across Asia, employees over 190,000 people as well. So it manages a diverse portfolio of a well-known retail brands, each of its own business. Its business has a very strong business identity and the cultural context. So the team came to us after a successful corporate rebranding, proud of their refreshed purpose statement, but what they want to do is really translate all those into culture, HR tools, and process. The first thing we started was EVP, which is the employee value proposition, which is a really important connector on how do we contribute to the organization purpose, but also to create the right experiences for the team members in daily basis. And this challenge, of course, anchored with so many diverse business units, And each of them have a very strong branding identity, as I mentioned. So are we able to find one cultural identity across all business units and across region? So that was really the big question. And we designed a people-first approach, taking a step back and creating an EVP that needs to start from the aspired identity of the employee, all employees, team members. And this is really important. We really treat everyone, see everyone not just as a professional, but as a whole human being. It needs to resonate across multiple Asian markets to respect individual culture itself, but also aligns with the unique culture of the different business units. It needs to foster the pride and connection throughout the organization. Yeah, so that's a really important part of the whole journey. I want to pause a bit because I've been talking a lot. I want to ask Monique, what's anything resonate with you based on your experience so far before I continue?
Yeah. So what I like about your definition of an EVP, it used to be like almost a billboard for a company, and now it's more focused on people, on their growth, on their opportunities, and you can see that shift also in the job titles of people that work in HR. It used to be HR, and now it's more and more people and culture. So it's opening their minds as well to people and their growth. But Jess, I'm afraid you need to talk a bit more, because now that now that you gave your belief around the EVP, how did you get to one in the end?
Yes, exactly. I'm going to talk about the approach. I think I have repeated myself with many times about humanizing people first, humanizing business. So you are absolutely right. We are business humanizers. So all the approach we design, all the methodology, we start from people lens, not the business lens. Of course, we need to connect with the business growth, business performance, but that's later on. So the approach, we really designed us listen to everyone and then really trying to understand what matters to the people in their life and how does that connect to the work culture. We interviewed the leadership team from each business unit from different market to understand their challenge, expectations, and also their point of view about the future. At the same time, we also connected to the team members, employees across 10 markets. So those interviews, they are not just interviews. They were open, heartfelt conversations. Some of the team members even joke about it. Wow, it's almost like a therapy for us to uncover what truly matters to people in their work and life journeys. Let me give you some question as an example. What do I mean by not interview, but actually personal deep dive of the life? So the question we ask is about what matters to you personally in your work and how do you want to grow as a human being, not just as an employee. And what role should your company play in your life journey to make you happier, to make you more satisfied? So those conversations uncover rich emotional insights. We define the building blocks for the identity, still few options at that time. Then we validate with the group-wide online survey, reaching over 6,000 employees and helped us to identify the key themes with the strongest resonance. The last step, we actually co-created with people and culture team to shape a proposition that was truly authentic, genuine, not imposed from the above, but grounded in employees' everyday life with a daily impact. That's the most important part.
Really nice, Jasmine. And so this visualization of the future is not really something you can just do in one afternoon with a couple of board members. It's really nice to see how you approach that first block so thoroughly. So I want to also know, how did the journey unfold after this initial step?
Yeah, sure. I think you are actually asking a very important question. So on this slide you are seeing, it's just a box, but we have worked so hard for quite a while in the whole process, there will actually a couple of engagement exercise also happen during the exercise to really motivate everyone to understand why culture is so important. So to bring the EVP to life, we actually have selected and trained ambassadors across multiple markets, ensuring the local champions ambassador could internalize the message and also drive the cultural engagement from within. So which is moving to your second box in the slide as well.
Yeah. Nice. And we'll dive into another, you just mentioned an ambassador program. We'll dive into another example a bit later on as well. But please let us know, where are you and the team now in this journey?
Yeah. I think you are more interested about the impact and result, right? So there are many impact we had made along this journey, not just this one box, but I think one really aha moments of impact I would like to share here is the entire EVP process gave leadership a chance to re-examine the employee relationship and to see their people not just as a roles or functions to meet a KPI, but as a human beings with hope, with desire, with tensions, with ambitions, and also stories in daily life. And this is the true power of a humanized journey of EVP. It becomes not just a tool for attraction and retention, but a cultural heartbeat of the organization. So that's the beauty of the cultural transformation. I hope that answers your question.
It does, and I loved all the insights. So I love also how you talked about this importance of humanizing the EVP and the approach that emphasizes everybody's voice matters. So we see clearly that it's critical for people to be recognized and to know what their drivers are, what matters to them in their lives, and to ask about the role of a company in their life journey. So it's about that, again, integration of work-life, not just work-life balance. And I want to quickly mention here that Christophe and Andrea van Acker, colleagues of ours, have written a book about this called The Human Growth Codes. And we have developed alongside this book, which is full of research, a diagnostic tool that measures and visualizes then how people consider what is important in their personal lives, and then how they see that sort of how it's experienced at their work situation. So it illustrates how a company is performing in terms of this work-life integration. And of course, we will be hosting another webinar in the future about this topic. So now, Monique, question to you. Once we have this visualization of the future that Jasmine so thoroughly went through, what has been your experience in making this come true in the next two boxes?
I actually prepared an example where we came in only in the second step. So the vision, the future visualization was already done. And it was a global restaurant chain, Japanese owned, and they were in a very fast-paced expansion. They were present in all over Asia, Japan, Indonesia, Taiwan, Philippines, China, but also in the UK and in the US. And that growth had happened automatically without that beautiful future visualization in mind, or only parts of it. We were asked to help them do a global rollout, and we said, before we do, let us also listen to all the markets and understand what their culture is like and what they found to express that culture. So we proposed a bottom-up system, so to speak, and also make sure that whatever beautiful mission they designed was heartfelt by the team and all the markets. And as Jasmine explained, sorry, for Gen Z, that is also extremely important, and it's mainly Gen Z working in restaurants on the shop floor. We used three different perspectives to make sure that whatever we heard in all those markets, we understood is this something that is tailored to the individual and the needs of an individual? Is this tailored to the team, to the collaboration, or is it the anchoring in a system? Because we know that only when there's change from all these three perspectives, it will start rolling. So it's that slide is enough for now to look at.
I want to quickly, we had previously some questions in the chat around this Gen Z topic. I think we can come back to those at the end. But there is now a question of Elisa about many senior leaders recognize this importance of a shared sense of we across the organizations, yet in practice, there's often a persistent feeling of separation. So especially due to the distinct responsibilities and pressures of leadership roles carry. And she has sensed that a fear of failure can sometimes prevent that deeper engagement with culture change. And she's asking for some practical approaches to help senior leaders move past that fear and authentically build a shared sense of ownership. And I think we're coming to that, right? At the end, you're going to give some beautiful examples of that.
Yeah, and I can also give an example now. So it is important. It's also important to recognize that fear, to recognize that it is uncomfortable to change, and that discomfort is in all of us. And if we find a way to talk about that and to start visualizing the future as a dream and also address that discomfort to get there, that is the first step in our experience. And it's good to not only do that with the leadership team, but to also do that with everyone in all the roles in the company. As Jasmine said, they designed that EVP with everyone, because everyone has a future dream. It's not only the leadership. And by finding it in the words of others, also it's an easier path. But I'll come to that also a little later. What we did for this restaurant chain, we worked together with the global team, with all the markets, with Landor and Fitch, another agency, and then we mapped out all the culture influencers, so to speak, that were present in all the markets, and we spotted a few gaps, and we spotted some similar systems, and then we made a toolkit for all the markets, saying, hey, if you want to move into that direction a little stronger, you are already doing this. Perhaps you can consider these other elements, and it will help you move faster. So that was a bottom-up approach, an inclusive approach, showing respect for all that they had done already and adding more ways on top.
Yeah. And I understand you have a couple of intervention examples now as well. So
yeah. One example is that it's good to in a restaurant. We're talking fast food restaurants. You are there as a team. And what was designed in one of the markets is a ritual to make a stronger team that is there for the guests to host them, to serve them. And that ritual we brought to other markets. We did a few tweaks because not everyone could apply that ritual. But in the end, that shared ritual of the team gave like an enormous boost to each shift, each day, saying, okay, we're in this together, and that we're going to make it today. So that team thing, and it was I'm not going to share it in here, but it was like a tiny ritual, and it's good to think of those aspects as well. Another element, also coming back to what Jasmine said about Gen Z and their eagerness to be relevant, to grow, to experience more each day, we made a system also founded in one of the markets. We brought it to all the other markets, a system where people can grow from being a dishwasher on the first level, the entry level, to being an expert in that, because you could also keep an eye on the cleanliness of the restaurant and so on. But then also that same dishwasher was allowed to start growing in another station, to also be the one preparing the vegetables on different skill levels, so that team could see in front of them, okay, there's more for me to do here, and it gave a beautiful team feeling as well, because you can jump in for each other.
Right. So this was that integral change part, right? Prepping, giving people a role. What happened in the last box in relevance and resonance, embedding it into all of the systems and staging that progress?
Yeah, I already gave a few examples of embedding in the system, because I always talk ahead of what I'm saying. On the relevance part, I think it's relevance for people. And like Jasmine said, like I explained, it's about listening to people, let them give their voice. That makes them feel relevant as well. And then the change becomes easier in the end. The resonance is about the whole vibe around the transition that you aim for, that it's resonating. And we took quite a few elements, a whole mix of elements, because just only one annual event where you launch the new program will not do the job. We also did build a campaign, internal campaign, where there was short stories from people on the shop floor every week. We also, like I said, that allowed people to grow in different roles, and the team also could see that level that everyone was having in the different stations. We asked everyone to also use the idea of a no food waste competition, which was also part of the culture, that no waste. And then everyone could bring in new recipes for what to do with the leftover rice or noodles or something like that. Gave an enormous spirit to the team. And that is another opportunity to then talk about that desired culture. So just a few examples. To us, it is important to have a mix and not do one poster or one annual event.
Right. Super good to have a mix of those. And I think we can share a little bit about this this case, right? And what we learned as well.
Yeah, so we listed it here on the slide. So we like I said, a shared activity is highly motivating to the team. If you have a role for everyone, also highly motivating, not ignoring the dishwasher, so to speak. And it's easily done in a restaurant, that if it's all about the quality of food. And prepare for the change together. So be a team in that change and in the discomfort. Don't think silos. Don't think only one department knows it all, but work together, collaborate together, learn from each other's mistakes as well. And we did that across markets. And it is also very important to have recognizable behavior, so that everyone knows, this is what is expected. This is where we drive the change together. That makes people feel confident, because it is awful to hear, we are fresh forward, we are this, and you don't know what to do. So you need to make it very pragmatic, very practical in all the roles of such a restaurant. And as a consequence, the team is more grounded, they feel stronger, and they are also more ready to do the change, because they know what is expected, they know where they're supposed to move.
Thanks. Thank you for sharing these learnings for us as well, Monique. And I remember being involved here as well. And I also remember the pride of these shop workers that were included as ambassadors, and they really saw the effects of their efforts to change the culture firsthand. So that was beautiful. Looking at the time, we have about 10 minutes left. So I want to ask the audience, did you have during this talk an aha moment to share with the rest of the attendees, or are you left with questions? Those we can also, of course, address now. So please let us know in the chat or in the Q&A option.
I think while everyone is typing, let me also answer the question from the chat.
Yes, the comment before as well.
Sorry, I missed that question.
So there is a comment by Elisa and Aver John around the Gen Z topic we talked about, which you can.
Yes, I will just add on Monique's answer to Elisa's question. I think the approach itself is very important. As Monique already mentioned, we need to really make sure we speak to different populations. So in the retailer organization case, we make sure we have to speak to the frontliner, which means that those people who are working at the store as well. Yeah, I think one thing is really important. Also, I learned from the client team as well. We have decided to give the spirit to the whole organization to make it a bold statement to say, hey, EVP is just a starting point. As we are growing as a team, as an organization, the society change, the business change. So doesn't mean we have this EVP, then you will stays there for 5 years, 10 years, never change. We are open to listen. We always evolve. And then we love to hear your stories. They even created a dashboard to ask people to share the stories as well. So that openness I find from the leadership team also encourage a lot, give a lot of assurance to the people. Like how open-minded the leadership are, and then we are evolving as we go for the EVP. So the current EVP is not fixed for 10 years. It's the starting point. Let's grow together to make it happen. So that's also very beautiful as what they created. Yeah. And then to answer the Gen Z question, I think it's from, I need to go up. There are a lot of comments.
Yeah, I like the remark of Eliza, who says it's our systems that are not welcoming the Gen Z, so to speak, which is very true, and we need to adjust that. We shouldn't do the mocking or making the jokes. It's okay to release some tension to make a joke, but it's also very important to take Gen Z very precise in what they can bring. And what therefore we need to adjust.
Yeah, very nice. I think that actually also connects to the point from the Evert.
Evert, yeah. Sorry,
Evert?
yeah.
So it's really true, like the distance from the work as opposite the previous generation from Gen Z. It's the jokes I was making. They gave this I don't care vibes, or they are super pragmatic to protect themselves. So that's the vibes they gave. But is this true? It's actually not true. If they care about something, they will fight. They will be super confrontational. They have a lot of tons of point of views to share with you, to challenge you. So if they give that vibes, which means the purpose doesn't meet the purpose from the organization, doesn't motivate them, hasn't unlocked them yet. So again, it's the system we need to work on, and then it's the adaptation of the culture we need to create to motivate them, to unleash that lioness in them. So once they become a lion, they will work as hard as everyone. Yeah.
Yeah, and on this, just one remark about the fear for change. I think it helps a lot if that fear is expressed, and not in a way of, oh, we're so afraid, but as in this makes me feel discomfortable, and then finding ways to address it. Because we are no more in a place as leaders of a company to say we know it all. There's so much happening in the world that suddenly forces us to reframe, to reconsider, to rethink. So we can't do that. Look at me, I'm in the front and we know it all. We need to express that doubt as well and find ways out together. The power of we, as we always say.
Yeah. And it's connected to one of the participants mentioned that what they loved to hear was this recognizing of the discomfort of change at board level as we need to get to the future dream. So yeah, that beautifully connects there. We also had one question that asked, how is the culture at Innate Motion then? So we are this remote company. How do we create that lasting and culture that we want to create?
We've been remote forever, almost 20 years we've been remote. We had offices for a short while, but then we realized some of us had to take a plane to go to the office, so that didn't work. So we've been remote, and we have done several rituals to become a team, and one of them is to really get to know each other, which means we also started to share an Airbnb and make breakfast together, be almost like a family when we were traveling. And that helps if you get to know each other in different contexts. If you go do sports together, if you prepare a dinner together and you realize you can't cook, or some people never do. It's that type of depth that you can give to the relationship. And we could do that because we are a small team. I understand if you have I don't know how many people, you can't do that for everyone, but being a team of 35, 40 people, we could do that. So get to know each other, get under each other's skin, and be open. Be open about, I find that you are so direct, and there's many ways you can say that. You can also help me rephrase my directness, and I can also explain why I'm so direct. And for Jasmine counts the same. So it's this curiosity, and that, yeah, using the feedback as a tool to stretch yourself, not in the sea of niceness, as in, oh, Jasmine, you're so this, you're so that, but using feedback as a tool for me to grow, for Bart to grow. That is what created the culture at Innate Motion as well.
Beautiful. So as we wrap things up, I want to ask Jasmine and Monique one last thing. What would you say is the key takeaway for people after this webinar? What do we need to leave people with?
We made a slide for that.
Yes.
I like what Peshan is saying about reframing failure from a negative perspective to a positive perspective. That is a very good, because failure is not failure. It's just you did a try, it didn't work, and you're going to try again. You need to see it in a growth perspective. Yeah, this is what we put as a key takeaway. Realizing that culture transformation works best if you design a process that is inclusive and continuous. It's not you do the transition in a week or in a half year. No, the transition is always there. And then it's good to realize that culture is dynamic, as we explained, and that means that we should be open to changes from newcomers. That counts for companies, that counts for countries as well, because the world is changing, your company is changing, your company culture is changing. You need to accept that as a truth, and that comes with that newcomer and new perspectives. And make sure that because of that dynamic, you design for a continuous transformation process, and not thinking, okay, now we have that visualization of the future, it's all set and done, we launch it and then we're good. It doesn't work like that, because it keeps going. And comprehensiveness is an important element, where we make sure that we prepare everyone for that discomfort and be comfortable with the change, and that we facilitate the transformation bottom up, as Jasmine explained, taking all these roles that are present in a company.
So I think Monica basically covered all the things from the slide. So I will just say a few things from the bottom of my heart. I think for me, cultural transformation today is a lot like a modern parenthood. So it's no longer just about teaching, educating, nurturing. It's about actually helping people, helping your kids or your family members discover an aspirational identity and really find different chances, opportunity to inspire them to grow together with our organizations. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you both. That's a beautiful thing to leave the audience with, I think. So I want to share our contact information. So if you're ready to start your own cultural transformation journey, or you have other questions for us, you can reach us on these platforms. So email or LinkedIn, you can find us. You can also follow us on LinkedIn so that you know exactly when the next webinar will happen. So thank you so much for joining today. I hope it was
For all the thoughts.
Yeah. And let's build the cultures of the future together.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all, everyone.
Bye.
This organization.